Hello and welcome to the next video of the albums of the year, which the last video was the best albums of the year. This video is going to be the worst albums of the year. And to start off, before we get into all the negativity, I just wanted to shout out an album that I forgot to shout out in my best albums of the year, and that is Horned Lord of the Throne Castle by Moonlight Sorcery. Great symphonic melodic black metal. It's their artwork reminds me of like that the 90s stuff, and it's pretty sick. So go check them out if you haven't. Great band. But further ado, let's get into what grinded my gears this year. And so at number 10 we have Inquitous Barbarik Synthesis by Impetuous Ritual. Yeah, so the snippet I just played, that's it. That's what the entire album sounds like. So I'm gonna save you a good 50 minutes, because that's how long the album is. And it wasn't anything that was super bad about it. It's just 50 minutes. It was just 50 minutes of boredom for me that I'm never gonna get back. And the guitar is like way too distorted for me to hear any coherent riffs. I mean, I understand the appeal of the atmosphere and like the grimy shit, but this personally is not for me at all. Maybe if it was better produced, it would have been more listenable, but for me it's a pass for me. And the next up we have number 9. Number 9 we have the Director's Cut by To The Grave. Yeah, so do you know how in the last video I said that I was very disappointed in some deathcore releases this year? This is one of them. In full disclosure, I don't enjoy this band, but I decided to listen to it regardless because I listen to a lot of different things throughout the year. And this has like a lot of synth elements that were popularized by, you know, Lorna Shore, especially in deathcore. The synth elements being popularized by Lorna Shore, not like the synth elements before, like in 90s symphonic black metal. And this right here is what I mean when I say I don't like deathcore that forgets the death metal influence, because the only death metal-ish things here are the vocals. Otherwise, it's just like modern, boring ass like metalcore with gutturals. That's what it sounds like to me. And it's just not for me at all. It lacks substance overall, and I don't really like how it's mostly like chugs and laser noises at all. It's boring songwriting. So if you want a good popular deathcore release, from this year, go listen to the new Cardiomyotomy album. That one bangs. And at number 8 we have Suffer in Heaven by Chelsea Grin. I've tried to get into this band, and they've never ever interested me in any way. Like most of the time, like I think it was their debut album, the guitar tone sounded so thin. It was so. And so I guess Suffer in Heaven is a continuation of an album from 2022, their album called Suffer in Hell. And why is this a separate album? Why not just make it a double album? This album is not interesting enough to be its own separate album. It's just not that interesting in my opinion. They do a better job at using like that death metal influence compared to like To The Grave, so I'll give them that. The production on this one is so sterile and flat. It's not fun to listen to, but if you're a fan of this, cool. This just wasn't really for me at all. Oh boy. So in number 7 we have Life Is But a Dream by Avenged Sevenfold.
More pace, more money, more taste, more sex, more pills, more
Yeah, so I like this band. I think they're good. I think they're overhated by a lot of people. So when I heard that they were putting out a new album this year, I was like, oh, cool, cool. It's been like what, like 6 years since the last one. Good. I'm glad. I hope it's like the stage, because the stage was good. And however, the first single came out, and the first single was Nobody, and I was greatly disappointed. We waited 6 years for this. Like, where are the riffs? Where are the riffs I like from this band? And why does M Shadow sound so terrible? Like, someone in a Discord said that it reminded them of like Limp Bizkit. I understand for Nobody, because the like dumbass synth part that goes. I think the song is Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit, where it kind of sounds like the riff. I understand. I think that was kind of funny. But anyway, back to M Shadows. I know his voice has been through a lot, like, but good lord, it sounds so bad. And also, nobody really, the song gives you like a sensory overload, because there is so much shit going on. Like, at the 1 minute and 48 mark, there's like a solo. There's a solo. There's like a brass section in your right ear. There's just like a horribly sounding sampled hi-hat and that dumbass synth riff. And then there's M Shadows holding on for dear life. And what exactly am I supposed to be listening to here? Like in that specific song, like the vocals, the brass section, the solo. What am I supposed to be listening to? And what can we talk about the cringe lines in the song "We Love You," which is already like an iffy like song title? Like, they're so laughable. Like more, once, more, needs, hit, more, hits, more, feed, more, speed, more, taste, more, sex. Like, and the delivery is so bad too. It is terrible. M Shadows is just awful throughout this entire album. He's the one that's like a helium balloon. He'd be the one that is like grabs it and then fucking like falls flat on the floor and then destroys the balloon. And sometimes being experimental is not always a good thing. And this right here, proof of it. It's proof of it. And this album is very boring and kind of hard to sit through. Everything I liked about this band is pretty much gone now. The last track is nice though. It's a nice piano, like a 4-minute piano outro. That's about it though. I was very disappointed to hear this album, but what can you do? All right, and so at number 6 we have 10,000 gecs by 100 gecs. Yeah, so I know some people who like this band ironically, I guess. So obviously I had to listen to it, and one other person I know like hated it, gave it a 2 out of 10. And I'm not a fan of this band, or like I haven't really had experience with hyper pop. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. The first 2 tracks I thought were decent, but then when you hit Frog on the Floor, what happened? What happens? Like everything just like gets hit by a hurricane. And the fact that Fantano gave this like a 7 or 8, but then calls like Dying Fetus and Cow Decap AI generated. What? Good lord. And Frog on the Floor sounds like a Disney Channel song to me. And the heavy auto-tuned vocals I've always hated in their songs, and things that always sound like shit besides like Money Machine. Because Money Machine is actually kind of fun, like from their last album. And they seem to fuse like a bunch of genres in this album, and it comes across as like extremely disjointed and the album itself doesn't really have an identity, like, to me. And Doritos and Fritos sounds like it sounds like a high school like talent show, and they're playing as sloppy as possible, and then people are like forced to clap by the teachers. And Billy Knows Jamie, and they have this like Pro Tools like metronome sample in the beginning. I think that's just kind of funny. There's no reason, there's no it's like bad, or there's nothing bad about it. I think it's just kind of funny. But when you get near the end of the song, they have this awful breakdown, and it sounds like you're being ear raped. It is so bad. Like, I think I had to take my headphones off because I was like, good lord, this is so bad. Yeah, and it's just hard to fucking listen to. And the rest of the songs off that album, once you get past like Billy, what is it? Billy Knows Jamie. They're just weird and then laughably badly written. They could write some catchy songs, but this album was not it. Go listen to Money Machine, because that is actually catchy and fun and kind of fun. And now at number 5 we have More to Hell by Psyclon 9. So yeah, if you want an extremely edgy and boring ass industrial shit, then here you go. Listen to this. And if you thought Deicide, you know, the death metal band, was edgy, my god, you're in for a treat for this one. Each song has like this weird ambient intro with these whispered vocals with some like that say some edgy ass shit like fuck your god and we worship Satan. What? It's and also, and they have these worst fucking screams too. Like I think one of the vocalists are female. Not that matters at all, but her vocals in particular, like they sound so bad, and while they're also drenched in distortion, it's so terrible to listen to. I don't know how they thought like give us money, sex, and death was catchy at all. And they have some repeated like songs on here. I think this is like an EP, but then they like added like a couple songs onto here, like that feature different artists. But the artists don't change the quality of the song at all. They're all the same, have the same lyrics, and have the same vocals. The features don't change anything about it. And I almost forgot that there is one good or decent song on here, and that's like Catastrophic, which has Scold on it. And if you don't know who Scold is, he's a Swedish magician who has been in a bunch of groups like KMFDM, Marilyn Manson, Shotgun Messiah, and he has his own project too called Scold, which is his most famous feature was in KMFDM's Anarchy, which I'm a big fan of KMFDM, so you'd understand why I think the song is decent. If you like industrial, I personally want to waste your time for this one. There was so much better stuff that you can listen to than this. And not to mention like the atmosphere is industrial. Like they have like good that's like it's mostly guitar too, so it's not like you're missing that much. When it comes to like industrial metal, sure, like it's like Marilyn Manson times 100 cringe. That's what it is to me. All right, and so number 4 we have Heritage by Distant. So yeah, this is definitely my worst deathcore release of the year. It is so overproduced, it's so sterile, it's so boring. And Distant is one of those bands who are just nothing special in my opinion. They are just like deathcore, the band. And the ambience, I guess, in this album adds something, kinda. I don't know what kind of atmosphere they're trying to create with this, and they're also trying to suck off Lorna Shore, once again, with the shit ass like orchestra they added in some tracks, and it's not great. They also do that slower equals heavier shit quite often, and it's really annoying, especially when the riff they're slowing down is not even good. There's also like, there's only like one or one and a half decent riffs and across this entire album, and I think this album is like about 40 some minutes. And in the very last track, they do the awful like Lorna Shore breakdown, like the type of breakdowns that Lorna Shore is known for, like the slow snare and then the fucking like quick double bass with the screams, and it's not your like traditional breakdown, but this type of breakdown has always like came off to me as very bad, like terrible. And they have this one track called Ancient Justice, which has like 100 different features, and surprise surprise, none of them can make the track good. And so in short, this album is overproduced, long-winded, and a large bore. It's boring. Alright, at number 3 I have Euphoric of Abnormal Horde by Cardiomyotomy. Yeah, so going into this, I was by the time I had this in my queue and was ready to listen to it, I was already trying to get in the slam. So I thought, hey, it's a new band, let's listen to it. And so when I was looking for it, I was surprised that this was one of the worst things I've heard all year. Very. The slamming riffs in this, the slamming riffs are so bad. They're boring. They're boring, and my god, every slow section has an 808 bass drop. And they do this to brush over the fact that the riffs they're playing aren't great, and to show the listener, hey, look, a heavy section is happening. Hey, bang your head, bang your head. You know, it would be fine if it was used very little, like in Megalodon by Guttural Slug, but the bass drop just covers the entire mix. That's all you hear for like 5 seconds. That's all you hear is the bass drop. You don't hear the drums, you don't hear the guitar, you hear the vocals. Dude, I know this is like common in some slam, but this in particular was awful to listen to, because there were like 4 bass drops in like a fucking 3-minute song. It was so boring. And yeah, it sounds like one of those like prank ear rape videos that your friend sends you sometimes. Like, you know, if you like slam and you like those 808s, then here you go. That's not my type of slam though. And at number 2 I have Deformity Adrift by Nightmare. Yeah, it's heavy, but what is happening? Like, so much is happening, but also nothing is happening at all, if that makes sense. Like, this is the biggest nothing burger of an album that I've heard all year. Heavy, yes, but where is the substance? Like, the genre of this band is apparently dissonant death metal, but there are bands like Immolation who do this type of style perfectly, and the riffs and shit are actually good. They're great. And the production and tone are on this album is almost exactly like every like deathcore and modern metalcore band that I've heard. Like, it's in the same tuning too. I don't know exactly what tuning it is, but it sounds identical to that. But except it's dissonant death metal. And it just also comes off as like uninspired to me too. And the good thing about it is that the album is only like a half hour long, so it doesn't waste that much of your time. I also almost fell asleep when listening to this, and I was more mad than anything that nothing of interest was happening for a good half hour when I listened to this. So this is why it landed up to my number 2. And before we get to number 1, I just want to give some honorable mentions to ones that either were straight up bad or disappointing. We have, yeah, so You know, I liked Lux Eterna when it came out. I forget what the other single was, and I like that too. But when the album came out and I listened to it all the way through, man, they really, I don't know, they're really not trying anymore. The difference between this and Hardwired is that I liked Hardwired when it came out, but I don't know. I was very severely upset when this ended up being boring and uninspired, and they haven't tried. They stopped trying. Like Kirk stopped trying to write good solos. James sounds like he's just been jamming like fucking Diamond Head and Motorhead for like since 2020. And he's like, you know what? Let's just write mostly riffs about. Let's just write mostly riffs that worship these bands. Like that's cool, That's fine. I guess, but they're so like boring. I don't know. I was just severely disappointed by Metallica this year. So I hope they like. I hate to say this, but I kind of hope they throw in the towel sometime, because they're getting old, and I don't really think they have, you know. I would settle for another Death Magnetic, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think they're inspired, or I don't think there's anyone that push them to their limit that they can be at right now. So I don't think. I think I think they're done for, to be honest. Sorry, because Metallica is like my third favorite band. Yeah, they're like my third favorite band. So sucks, but you know. And another honorable mention is Sleep Token. Take Me Back to Eden. If I get killed, this is my final message, I guess, because Sleep Token fans are off the wall. To be honest, I thought the first two tracks were fine, but the biggest thing here is that it's just boring. It's not like outlandishly bad. It's just boring. It just sounds like Imagine Dragons core, and it's just so like a snooze fest. But that's all I really have to say about that. The Sevendust album, it's boring. It's boring. As you could tell, like most of these albums are not like quote unquote bad. Some of them are, but this one is boring. And the next is the Curta'n album, which if you don't know what this is, it's like medieval black metal. But the thing is that the black metal elements here are it's so bad. Like the guitar sounds terrible, and the strained like attempt at the black metal vocals are just so no. I'm glad this album isn't like circle jerked like as much anymore in a group that I'm in, but yeah, I did not like this at all. I mean, I thought the folk elements were cool, but the rest, no, sorry, that wasn't my thing. Anyway, at number 1, we have Wheel of Catherine by Vibrations Felt in the Void. Now, to any of you like massive death metal fans like me, if you like this, like what you heard in like the demo quality, then go ahead, kill me. But anyway, I was surprised that a brutal death metal album is my number 1 worst album of the year, because yeah, like the demo quality and the fact that you can't pick up a coherent riff in this album at all is the fact that is the reason why this is number 1 for me. When it's like this production, for me, it completely kills any enjoyability that I could possibly have for it. I was looking forward to this too, because like the album cover was cool. I was like, oh cool, this is gonna be like pretty brutal, you know. But then I'm disappointed because it sounds like complete dog ass. This is like if Broadquin was bad. That's what it sounds like. Because there's like constant blast beats in this album too, like Broadquin has, but fucking you can hear shit in Broadquin albums, bruh. And the drums are so uninteresting. And the only good thing I could say about this is the vocalist is good, like obviously. And I hate when bands do this because they really neuter their true potential when they record it like this and then they release it. Like there are also awkward pauses throughout some of these tracks. Like do they not know how to write a song? I think it's like 3 songs they awkwardly pause in and like you hear the snare like hit 3 times and the band comes back in. Like dude. And yeah, so if you like what you heard, check it out, I guess. But the reason this is number 1 for me is that why record it like this and why release it like this? And it's not like you're in 1999 and you have like, you know, you have like the worst quality shit ever and this is all you can release. You're like, dude, like you killed all the potential of like having a good album by doing this. And to me it just sounds like nothing but gutturals over chaos. Like just static. I mean, it's not pure static. You could obviously hear like guitars and stuff, but that's what it kind of sounds like to me. So that is my top 10 worst albums of the years for me. So if you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment if you have any critiques or anything. If you couldn't tell, I have a new mic now, so hopefully it's a little better. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.